Hi everyone. So before we start, I would like to remind everyone that this session will be recorded as well so that we can use it for future training. Welcome to the final day of our first virtual Small Business Week 2020. Tonight, we are happy to deliver the second part of the two e-commerce sessions. As mentioned before, the traditional shopping became more difficult due to COVID-19 pandemic. As a result, people are more inclined to shop online. We are here tonight to talk about the importance of e-commerce for your business. And for that, we welcome back our two presenters from Monday, Mike Fairfield and Stephen Bowens. Welcome, guys. The floor is yours.
Thank you for having me. Yeah,
Nice. Let's get started.
let's get started. Okay, guys. So on Monday, for those of you that weren't a part of the session, we talked briefly. We just given a brief introduction to the whole e-commerce world, the e-commerce ecosystem. We talked about how you can get ready to sell your products or services online, and we talked a little bit about what some of the most common e-commerce programs or platforms are available, both free, and we kind of went through scaling up to the more expensive solutions that are out there. So
Right.
tonight we're going to go a little further. We're going to talk more about how to build online interaction once you have a store set up, and talk a bit about marketing your website and some of the processes that are involved with all of that. Choosing the right solutions. We're going to talk about branding. We want to talk about how to build interaction, marketing your site. Steven's going to talk about social proofing and reviews and loyalty programs, a little bit about that.
Yep.
And basically the principles online that are very similar to traditional business, in the sense that very often you go through a process, or what we call a value ladder, where you start with engaging with your customers with something that is usually free or a low cost type of an item, and as you build relationship, you continually try to build value to the products and services that you're offering. And then of course we want to have some time of just Q&A.
Yep.
Because this is vast. We can talk about inbound marketing. I know there was a workshop about that some of you may have seen about social media earlier this week, and there's a lot involved with that whole inbound marketing process, and a lot of it needs to be tailored or geared towards the type of business that you are in. So
Yeah.
that's why I think it's important we have a little bit of Q&A time, so we can try to give you more direct answers that pertain to the kind of business that you're in, and hopefully that'll be helpful for you.
Yeah. Just want to kind of build a framework and visualize kind of the ways to go down, and then you can follow along with your own business. And let's see what we got. So choosing the right platform. So last session we talked a lot about possible platforms that are out there and what works for you. So we're gonna start off with ourselves, as we both, me and Mike, we offer marketing and e-commerce services. And usually when we build a store, and our main audience is small to medium-sized businesses. So in that approach, we have like three main go-to ideas that we kind of always start off with. So for example, when we just do a website, you're thinking you're mainly doing the commerce section still in real life. You're mainly using the web platform to promote yourself, to get engagement with your customers, but in the end still mainly sell physically, and not really connected to a fancy store. We just kind of then go with a WordPress or a Joomla website. These are just kind of the most used platforms today to build a proper professional website.
Right.
And these are platforms that you can even do yourself. You can watch one or two YouTube videos, learn how to set it up, and then there's templates and themes that kind of like put everything in place for you, and then you can kind of tailor it more to your specific needs. It's a little bit more work than your all-in-one DIY simple platforms, but for us, as we're doing it as a business, this is kind of like, if you want a proper professional website, we start with a WordPress or a Joomla platform, and from that we can build a professional website. So if we want to then go to a website and also the electronic store connected, then usually we go, we build our, and then thinking if we have a small medium range of products or a small medium amount of sales, nothing too crazy, we stay in WordPress and Joomla, and then we connect it to a plugin called WooCommerce. That is a free plugin, but is a professional plugin that allows you to sell a whole range of products with a whole set of different varieties, have specific shipping plugins that are all automatically. There's an endless range of additional plugins that work with WordPress and WooCommerce to really build out your store to it in a tailored approach specifically for your needs. Then
Sorry, what was that plugin called?
WooCommerce.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We had a second surge while there was higher amounts of virus circulating out there every day.
Okay, go ahead. That was her mic was on, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, but then if we want to go, if we have a more increased range of products and we want to, or we want less maintenance work, then we could also connect a WordPress or a Joomla website with a Shopify store. And then there are ways to combine both. You can pull Shopify products from the platform, but implement them, embed them into your WordPress or your Joomla website. So, and then it always kind of depends, like when we have an e-commerce project to do, we always then still kind of think like, oh, we think for the purposes of that business, for that client, or if they are a bit more tech savvy, less tech savvy, if they have a small range of products, and then we kind of choose between those options. And then usually if there's only a store, there's no specific website connected to, then we tend to go more to Shopify itself, because it's completely laid out to be a store. So there is a small amount of work and you can just start putting on your products. Then there is, with Shopify, there is a fee included. It starts at $30 per month. And then it goes up to, with plugins, you can spend hundreds or thousands of dollars a month even, depending on your needs. But it starts from $30. And then I like to use it especially when I have a medium or a large range of products or a large amount of sales, because Shopify is built to handle a large amount of interactions or options.
Right.
And it's, yeah, in that way, in that sense, it's faster or more optimized than a WooCommerce store.
Yeah.
So I'd always kind of like it balanced, like there's no perfect solution, but there's kind of our main go-tos, and then we still kind of do a bit of research. If we think like it's not really going to work for those kind of solutions, then we still look for another solution that's more specifically tailored for that business. But that's just kind of our starting point that we wanted to share, to kind of get an idea of like what is a normal, regular, small to medium-sized business. What is a good approach to start a proper professional e-commerce business?
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like just to sum that up, I mean, if you've already got a website, if you've got a WordPress site and you want to expand on something that you've already invested in and introduce the e-commerce part of that, then of course that would be an easy recommendation, especially if you have a small selection of products. You can add a plugin like the WooCommerce to that site, and you're in action.
Yeah, you're ready to go. It's just you add the plugin, put out the information and then you're ready to sell.
And just to clarify, like with Shopify, you can create a standalone store with Shopify. So if you're starting from scratch and you have a large selection of products, and you want all of the capabilities that Shopify offers, then we recommend just going straight into that.
Yeah.
But again, as another bridge between the two, Shopify's lowest price point of $30 a month gives you the ability to create products within Shopify, but then embed them into your WordPress or Joomla or other sites. So it's a very cost-effective way to kind of make the transition, if you already have a website, from using the plugin to going full bore into a Shopify platform.
Yeah, so there's no main solution. There's always kind of like, what is the best possible solution for the scenario?
Right.
So then we want to go to how to build online interaction. How do we start marketing ourselves? How do we start selling? So, oh, there we go. So then when we look right now, there's a lot happening and there's a lot of things that could be hard to understand. And that is not just for the business side, it's also for the customer side. There's a whole variety of online stores. Which ones can you trust? Which ones you should avoid? Pricing difference, how is customer service on this website? It's kind of hard to navigate, and it's a changing environment. There's no bricks involved, so it's always kind of changing, and it's hard to wrap your head around on what is happening. So this is something that we want to talk a little bit more this session on, like how to bridge all these hard to understands and kind of like build it so that you can connect to your customer. So for that point, I want to compare e-commerce. Oh, that wording looks weird. Sorry about that. So e-commerce is kind of like dating. Often in e-commerce, we create a product and then we just start selling the product. But similar to dating, we want to take things easy. For example, when you're interested in someone, you don't go up to them and ask them like, hey, we should have kids, like we could get married and why not? Obviously, the question is like, well, I don't know you. Who are you? Why should I make a commitment to you without knowing who you are? So in that sense, we start off with like, who are you? Hey, I'm Steven. I'm from Merritt. This is where I live. I'm originally from Belgium. And you kind of build a relationship before you make any engagements. So that starts with the question, who are you? And then, so for when we go through these following steps, I just want to kind of keep your own business in mind, or imagine your future business you want to do, or if you don't really want to start a business, just for fun, think of something that you want to sell. So you can kind of follow along the process as we go through these steps. So with who are you, mainly we can explain that with branding. So branding just defines who you are in a nutshell. And that goes from different topics. That goes from your logo to your main color palette, to the imagery you use, and it all kind of resembles who you are as a business. So branding is as well important offline as online, but somehow I believe it becomes more important in the online environment as you have this screen barrier. So you can't just interact. When you walk in the street, it's easier to kind of understand what a shop is. You can kind of look at the front. You can kind of go in and ask a question. There's less barriers. So online, there's just a lot happening. A lot is happening. So we kind of want to define who you are, and especially online, scrolling through a Facebook feed, all these emails you're getting. Basically, when you come out with your business, you need to be able to explain yourself in 2 to 5 seconds. And now mainly that is with visual recognition, anything on your phone, on your screen. So somehow it takes quite a bit of time to analyze your business, analyze who you are, what you stand for, and then somehow turn that into a less than 5-second impression that people will kind of understand what you are about. Otherwise, they might be turned off and kind of keep moving on. So you want to grab that attention. So an extreme example here, this is a food truck. And when you look at it in half a second, I know what this food truck is selling. So I probably think they sell hamburgers. So there's no doubt about it. You know what they sell and you know what to expect. So when you want a hamburger, you can go up and say, oh, I want a hamburger. So there's no figuring out what is this food truck selling? What is it doing? I don't know. I'll just go eat at Subway.
So in other words, you probably don't want to have a hammer in your logo if you're selling ice cream.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's hammer ice cream or something.
Yeah, if you're not making hammer ice cream, avoid the hammers in your ice cream business.
There you go.
So, so I'm gonna do a little example of a rebranding I did for a local letter worker, Don. And so on the left is his old logo, and on the right is his new logo. Now you still might think, oh, I like the original one better. Then keep in mind, for the market, as we're going online, everything has to be easily recognizable. So in the old days, we could be a lot more graphical, visual, but today we have to think about pixels on the screen. We have to make sure it's visible in a small scale because the screens are quite tiny if you have to see your logo up front. It has to be very readable, so immediately you have to read the name of the business. So keeping that in mind, I created the logo with the leather icon immediately resembling leather. Also that he's doing it for a lot of years, so he's a trusted craftsmanship. And then I also designed it based on the fact that working with leather, I wanted him to have the ability to be able to stamp the logo on the leather, kind of like emboss it or laser it or engrave it and something like that. So I wanted to make sure that the logo would also work to be embedded in the product. So then overall, as you create a logo, think also of like, how are you going to apply that logo in your business? Is it going to go on your products? How can it go on your products? Should it be more elaborate or should it be something simple? It's just something to keep in mind when you think about creating a logo. So next, who are you? So we want to build trust. So when you try to sell something, whatever you say you are, people need to know that you're speaking the truth. Like, can I still trust what that person is saying? When I talk to a stranger and say, hey, I'm Steven, I live in Merritt, but I'm from Belgium, it might not be true. I could be, lying. I could be from Ukraine. So one aspect to overcome that is something called social proofing. So social proofing is having enough people acknowledging that that product says what it is, therefore it will be more trusted to be purchased by a stranger, a customer. And I have here 2 Amazon examples, one with a 4.2 rating and one with a 5-star rating. But as we see, the bag has 932 ratings. So if about 1,000 people say, hey, this product is really good, we probably gonna assume that's true. But then the punching bag has 1 review. So then you start to wonder, I don't know if that review is legitimate. It's only 1 person saying that it's good. Right. What if it's, Uncle Jeffrey buying the punch bag and it's just like, oh yeah, it's family, I'm gonna give him a good rate. Right. So even though it has a 5-star rating, it's less trustworthy because it doesn't have enough social proofing to back up what it says. So now I'm going to show an example in a Shopify store. This is a store that we've made, and on the homepage, we've incorporated a social proofing section. So basically reviews with a star rating, with comments, and it shows the product that they bought. So from that, this is our aim to make people trust the products that we were selling. And this is on a Shopify store. It's with a plugin you can add on in Shopify that will allow you to set up this kind of system. And there are different plugins. Again, there's 100 different solutions, but you kind of find the one that works for you. For this one, it was a paid plugin, but then it allowed me to send automatic emails out to my customers a week after it was sent, and then again a reminder 2 weeks after it was sent for like, hey, would you please be so kind to leave a review? It would mean so much to my business. So that's something really to try to do. So, and as you see on this page, there are 2 other icons that I want to address, which help build engagement and loyalty. So we have a gift box and a chat button. And when we click on them, we see on the left, it's a loyalty program. And as we just talked about it on Monday, referrals from other people can be very important. It's similar to social proofing, where if someone you know says, hey, check it out, you're more likely to actually go check it out. So here we incorporated a loyalty program where if people, for example, share your product, or they bought something and then they share it, or they leave you a review, they get points. And as they build up points, they'll get a discount for their next order. So it's just kind of building that trust and that engagement and the social proofing together with your customers. And on the right side, you have a chat support. And as we mentioned on Monday, that was one of the barriers that you have in a normal store, the immediate interaction with your store. When you walk in Mark's and you're like, oh, I just want to find a pair of jeans. I don't know if they have any in the right size. Oh, lady, could you please help me? I'm looking for this. Right. And otherwise, you might kind of like not be bothered to go around and look. So the chat support is an option to cross that barrier, to have immediate connection with people on your website browsing your store. So they're quite close to maybe making a purchase, and you could just kind of bring them over like, oh, do you have that in this size? And then you can kind of interact and lead them to a point that they actually want to buy your product. And then in new development in the chat support is chat bots. So chat bots are basically automatic responders to a chat support. And this could be very useful for common asked questions. Because if you keep getting asked the same question, you can add that in a chat bot, and then it will already give the answer to your customers without you even being involved. And then even there's different sorts of plugins available depending on how much you want to spend and how professional you want to be. And in this case, it's something called TDO that I personally used in 2 websites. It's also possible to add it can make a connection with Facebook Messenger. So when people start to chat, you will receive it in Facebook Messenger, and that's a free plugin available as well. So these are just kind of ways to kind of keep things going, build the relationship, build the loyalty with your customer or potential customer.
I'm just going to add something to that too. The TDO and the Messenger bots are really kind of handy for small business people like us.
Oh yeah.
Because it has an app for your phone as well. So I use it as well on my site, and I find it very handy. If I happen to be out going to the post office or away from the office, I can get the notification on my phone and instantly reply as though I'm part of a bigger organization. You know, for the visitor, it's kind of handy to have that.
Yeah, you can always be available to your customer.
Always available. Yeah.
It depends if you want to break or not. You can turn it off, or you can be available 24/7.
Right.
So we discussed who we are. So now, who is your client? And then in marketing, we usually set up a customer profile. So customer profile is to make things simple for you as a business, is you create a profile of your customer that kind of fits certain patterns or facts about people that could define who you usually sell to. So mainly we can split this up in demographics and psychographics. For example, I don't know, let's say we target small to medium businesses. So demographic would be business owner, usually between 20 and 60, usually living in Merritt or in surrounding cities. And then psychographics talks more about other aspects, like these people like to hike or walk, or they're more techy people.
Interests, hobbies.
Yeah, interests
Yeah.
and hobbies.
Mhm.
So when you look at your own business and your own product, you can kind of find a pattern, and you can always kind of fine tune it over time as you do business. You find to discover like, oh, I have these type of people, or I have those type of people. And then as you understand your customer and their average profile, you also know how to target your customers better.
Yeah, and I think that I should mention that is a process. So you want to start with the ideal. Who is your ideal customer? Use them as your main sort of demographic to go after. But the nice thing about e-commerce is that everything is digital. Uh, you you have the ability to measure the results of your interaction online. So I'll use an example. Google Analytics is a terrific tool where if you have analytics plugged into your website, over time you can start to measure the types of engagement, and then of course with that information, you can uh, continuously like nurture and redefine who your target audience is,
And then target
and then target
more
that
specifically.
more specific. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because then with Google Analytics, you'll get a chart saying 65% of your website visitors are male between 25 and 35. And this is just pre-information that is available. Usually that's also, you have to connect Google Analytics to your website, and then it'll be start collecting data.
One more point too. I just want to mention this. I don't even think you know this. Today, there was just announced. I've got an email a few hours ago, but Google Analytics has just come out with a brand new platform, and it looks very interesting. So they're using artificial intelligence. It's getting very, very sophisticated, and I would say something that's like we definitely want to dive into.
Yeah. And then the beautiful thing is, once you have your customer profile, also then the beauty of e-commerce compared to traditional promotional material. For example, when we put out an advertisement and we put out an advertisement on Facebook, in Facebook, it'll allow you to give a very specific range of who you want to see your ad. If you say, I want my ad to be seen by male 25 to 35-year-old who love hiking and who
live in Kamloops.
live in Kamloops, and they love bulldogs.
Upstairs in bed.
Right.
Yeah.
Gonna mute her mic.
So just the e-commerce, in a way, it's scary because everyone knows everything, or all the big guys know everything, but then they'll allow small businesses as well to use that data and information for you to be more tailored to your audience. And that can also then lead to saving in advertisements, rather than putting an advertisement in the newspaper that kind of targets everyone.
Yeah.
While you only need to target a specific group, you basically pay to reach everyone, but most of it is kind of fruitless.
Yeah.
So there's more abilities to go more targeted and directed in the e-commerce platform. So when we target your market, then we mainly then go to social media, and that is where there can be a lot of targeting. This is where you put your organic content. This is where you put your paid ads. But then here I thought this was mainly covered on Tuesday, I believe. So we're just gonna skip over the whole social media part, as that was discussed on a different day. We don't want to duplicate any information and stick to the e-commerce goodies. So what do you offer? So the main thing from your business, one is, as mentioned, what is your core product? What do you sell the most of? What did you build your business on? And this is what we call your core products. So on Monday, we started talking a little bit about starting a Bannock business. So I'm just gonna take Bannock as an example through this little journey here. So Bannock is our core product. That's what we're gonna build a business around. And then if we're smart, we wanna differentiate a little bit, and something that makes you different from other people selling Bannock. Why is your Bannock better?
Right.
It's, secret grandma's ingredient, no one knows, special flavor. And then the next thing, besides your core product, these are called your profit maximizers. These are the additional products. So when we talk about Bannock, that would be talking about adding coffee or tea or squishum juice or ice cream, more kind of in.
What's squishum?
It's a soberry juice, or call it ice cream, but it's not really ice cream. But it's very, very First Nations, and something that along with Bannock you can really kind of sell more different cultural food, or maybe a low carb alternative, because not everyone wants to put the Bannock in their tummy, So there's other ways to sell more besides your core product. And another form of product is called a Tripwire product. So a Tripwire product is kind of like, it wants you to kind of trip and make the decision to make a small purchase. So it's a small purchase to initiate the relationship.
Right.
We did a lot of talking. We kind of start trusting each other. It's time for the next step. Are we ready to give a kiss? It's your initial kind of, okay, we're going to do something together. Now in e-commerce, that is making a purchase. I am giving my card information to take off a small amount of money, and I will get a product in return. So a Tripwire makes it easier to kind of get over that barrier. And usually you have your main product, and then you try to turn it into a smaller section of it and try to sell it for a cheap price. So with Bannock, we literally can sell mini Bannocks. You say, why not, just hypothetically, the Bannock is, I don't know how much is Bannock. Let's say a really nice Bannock for $6 or $7. I don't know, might be off. But it's like, I don't know. I've never tried this Bannock. It's all like deep fried. I don't know if my stomach's gonna handle it. So like, why not try a mini Bannock? It's only $1.50.
Yeah.
You can see, if you like the flavor. And it's like, okay, I'll make that purchase.
Kind of like the little ice cream stores when you go into the store and they have those little mini cones where you can try them for free.
Yeah.
Just to get an idea if you like it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you have built that trust. You've sold the Bannock, you've paid the money, you received the Bannock, you ate the Bannock. We have established a mutual relationship.
Yeah.
So that will make it easier to kind of go further in that relationship. Now we want to go one step back further in the process to something called a lead magnet. So a lead magnet is basically right at the beginning. We want to shout out to the crowd and say, hey everyone, we're doing something with Bannock here. but then usually we offer something for free to get that initial contact. We want to we want to be able to say hello. So we shout in the crowd, our Taylor crowd, but it's still a crowd. We don't know if they'll be interested. And we can, for example, for a bannock, it could be a recipe video on how to make bannock yourself in your kitchen with 3 easy steps. Depending if you want to give away the recipe or not, but just for example, let's say we give away a free recipe video. So that means the people accepting to watch that free video, they probably like bannock. And what we do then is, in order to get the free product, we collect the email address. And that is how we can build the email database. Talked a little bit about that on Monday, which is very important for ongoing engagement. So you own the contacts. You can build up contacts that you can then later on use to reach out and go to the next step. So just MailChimp is your classic example of a email system, and now they offer e-commerce solutions as well. And personally, I still like to use MailChimp for emailing
and building a list.
Building a customer base of potential customers that you can then communicate to and try to sell more of your products. So I've just put them all here in chronological order. So first off, we start with the lead magnet. We try to get the attention of people with something free. We all love free. That's just how it is.
Yep.
Then we try to reel them in with a Tripwire product. Let's build that initial relationship. After that, we can try to sell our core product along with the profit maximizers to really get more value out of your customer. And then the next step is to stay connected. So we can kind of go back in the process. Once you have a customer, you can still send out emails. You have, hey, we now sell strawberry glazed bannocks. If you liked our other bannocks, you might like our strawberry glazed bannocks. So then you can kind of reach out and start the process over again.
And just like the dating, you're building a relationship. You want to continue to nurture and build that relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And then here, I'm just gonna use a little bit of Merritt Marketing's branding. As we did the logo, this was kind of something that we kept in mind. It's always a circle, and it's always moving forward. And that's kind of the main idea important now in e-commerce is keep the ball rolling, keep it going, keep staying connected. Don't per se always try to sell something, but build relationship. I know a mailing list like, hey, FYI, I just discovered another great video of someone making bannock. I just wanted to share it with you. You might like it. So even though you're not really trying to sell something big every time, you're just kind of keep it going so people will still kind of remember you and you will maintain their relationship. Similar as, you know, you met that girl, you had a fun time, but then she moved away and you never bothered to call her. After a while, the relationship just kind of gets sour.
Right.
So you want to keep calling, you know, keep everything going so we're all friendly. And, you know, who knows, you might end up together again. So that is something similar. Just keep the relationship going, especially now with social media. It's all about staying connected, reaching out, being social with your customers or your potential customers. Tell stories, and just, yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you know, Manuel asked the question on Monday about the big giants like eBay and Amazon, and you know, how can we compete against giants like that? And this is where this kind of information is so important. There's a lot that you can do as a small business to build that audience and to build relationships with people, and in a way that the larger companies like Amazon just can't do. And I mean, we could show you numerous examples of how people are doing it. You can be unique. Just think about a traditional business. I mean, the decor, the branding, the personality of the owners, like all of those things come into play when you're promoting yourself online.
Yeah.
And
it's standing
there's-
out, being
yeah.
different.
just being different, standing out, being yourself. And again, it's building relationships. You know, the term tribe is used quite often, where you end up with your own tribe. It's your own kind of people.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that you want to put your time and effort into engaging with. And I know we said we wouldn't get too much into social media, but each social media platform has a role to play in building those relationships and growing that audience for you.
Yeah, it's always depending on your customer profile. You maybe learn like what platform tailors more to specific demographics or psychographics. Like you're not gonna find a lot of teenagers on Facebook. So if you're focusing on teens, and you have to find more the platforms that speak to those directly. So there's all these things in place. Do the research on who's your customer, which platform do they usually use. Also depending on the product. If you have visually appealing products, then you can always use Instagram because it likes visually appealing images. If it's more video related or humor related, try out TikTok. If you're just kind of more the masses or kind of the older generation online, then you just stick with Facebook. There's all these different approaches, but it's unlimited in depending on what is your business, what is your market, what are their demographics. So the best way is just kind of really analyze it yourself and then make the decision based on your knowledge, and then also trying to include Google Analytics to find out more of the people that are interested in your business or your products. Yeah.
So I think that kind of covers what we wanted to cover.
Yeah, that covers what we wanted to
we
cover.
did want to leave some room for Q&A. So we're here to answer, hopefully, we'll try to answer any questions or that you might have.
Yeah, it can be more, yeah, we can give practical
Examples
on how we would handle the situation.
Excellent, guys. Thank you so much for the presentation. In my opinion, it's for me easier to understand how e-commerce works, and also the importance of those elements that you mentioned, the Google Analytics and all other data components, what is the role that they are playing. But let's ask if there is any questions for you guys. Marisa, Shannon, Joe?
Yeah, I've got a question. The chat bots that you guys mentioned, the setup for stores. I always thought those were really clever because it gives the feeling like you just joined, like this big company's website when someone's able to reply right away.
Right.
It feels like, oh, they have like a team, like they're like waiting for my response. That's just going to the owner's cell phone, or they can just set up automated replies.
Yeah, so I would say probably the most common, unless you can think about any others, but probably the most common and the ones that we like to use are Tidio, which we use on our own websites. And there's a free version of that. And then just like everything else, you can scale up and pay for more bells and whistles.
Yeah, there's always the free and
then the monthly plan. You see, they're doing inbound marketing, like they're doing all the things that we're talking about too.
Yeah, the free plugin is your Tripwire.
That's your Tripwire. You get your free, but there's value to all of it. We use the free plan. It's all we need.
Yeah. But then we don't really use the chatbots, but in there they have chatbot options, I believe.
Yeah.
That you can then access if you go for a higher plan.
So Joe, when you sign up for an account at Tidio, you have your own dashboard. So if you're working at your desktop at home, you can have that browser window open and be logged in, and you'll get a notification every time somebody jumps on your site. You'll be able to see if somebody's on your website.
Wow.
And if they have a question, you can just quickly, it'll ding, just like a chat. And you can respond from the desktop. So like I think
from mobile.
Yeah. So with both of us, we usually, like mine's open right now on the computer screen here. But they also have an app, so you can download the app to your phone and get the notifications on your phone as well. So if you can basically get notified either way and respond either way. Now the other one is Messenger. So Facebook Messenger. If you go to Messenger, probably under Tools or Extras or whatever,
Depending on the platform. If you're in Shopify, you'll type in Messenger, it'll pop up as a
right.
plugin.
And it's free. It's just another plugin that you can use that utilizes the Messenger application.
Yeah, there's like less settings. It just kind of connects to your Messenger, and then you can even set up auto replies in Messenger.
Yeah.
So you could do a little chatbot thing in Messenger. It's not as advanced as like a proper third-party plugin, but it's a basic, free, simple way to get it going.
Chatbots are a big deal. Like they are becoming more and more sophisticated. They're using artificial intelligence.
Yeah, all the big guys, they're really trying to get that personal feel with chatbots just by paying a lot for a very advanced chatbot.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. It's kind of neat to see behind the curtain on that. I'll let anyone else who might have some questions jump in.
And this is where also then I think still as a small business, you can have the advantages, because in the end, if you go into a big store and it's still always a chat bot, but you're not talking to a person, well, as in a small business, is like there's only a customer once at a time. So you have the ability to engage with your customer, and right there you have the same tools, but you could spend more time on your customer than the big guy. So right there, you already have advantage over a bigger platform.
Right.
Yeah. Does that satisfy your question?
Yeah, 100%. I was always curious how those worked. So.
Come on, one more.
I think Manuel might be muted. I don't know if he knows.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, Janet. Now we can.
Hi. I wanted to ask a question because I'm a clothing designer, and this is all really new to me and really exciting. And so I wanted to ask a few questions about some of these things, what you feel that I might be gearing towards, like the what was it? Sorry. What's that one that's on Facebook and you kind of get a picture for a few minutes? I forgot the name.
What, Messenger?
Was it the Amazon one that he posted there?
Just a sec here. I wrote it down. Sorry, I'm just so behind here. I got my computer died and I missed some of the stuff you guys were talking about.
That's okay. Well, there'll be a tape of this, I believe, so you'll be able to watch it again if you need to.
Awesome.
Or call Stephen or I anytime.
Oh, Instagram. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Because I thought I could maybe put
designers,
some of my pictures on there.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, anything display, and especially fashion. And then the beautiful thing with Instagram is that now you could post your design dresses and allow people to buy it inside Instagram.
Another one you could be using, Shannon, is Pinterest.
Is which one?
Pinterest.
Oh, Pinterest.
Yeah.
I do have some things on Pinterest. I didn't put them on there, but they're on there.
Yeah, and both Instagram and Pinterest now have the ability to that they're called plugins. So if you had a Shopify site built, everything that you have on your Shopify site can get fed into Instagram and Pinterest automatically. So all of your products are automatically fed into your Pinterest account.
So
Awesome.
click on it, and then they can
So they-
directly go to your
into your store.
and then
Nice.
Yeah, those two for sure. Pinterest and Instagram for your type of business. Absolutely.
yeah.
Thank you.
And yeah, and also for example on Instagram, because I assume it takes a while to design something, so then just to kind of like keep the ball rolling, keep engagement, occasionally take a picture in the progress. Oh, here I am working on the sleeve, or oh, this is a tricky part, or oh, I really like how that. So it's just kind of sharing the process with your followers, and that also kind of builds the trust, like, oh, that lady really seems what she's talking about. So it's just kind of taking away the barriers, get closer to your customers, and share the progress, share the joy, or share, you know, if anything messed up, like people like the.
They want genuine. People are looking for genuine, right? They
Yes.
want genuine. And again, that's what we said earlier too about the giants like Amazon. I mean, they can't touch the personality and the interaction that you can give to your audience. So be genuine about everything that you're doing, and share it. Like, just get into the habit of sharing everything you do.
Yeah, at some point it's something to get used to, because it's always something like, oh, I don't have time for it. But then if you run a business, like, that's something you have to make time for. Especially today, it's becoming more and more important. And when people are then on Instagram, it's like, oh, that's nice. And then poof, your business is back in their mind. And if they ever think like, oh, I think I want, you know, a nicely designed dress, then you'll already be in their mind, and then they'll reach out easier than if you just kind of post very sporadic.
Okay. That's a good idea, because I do show it on Facebook, but I think my friends are tired of that stuff. Instagram is probably the next step.
Yeah. And then for Instagram, yeah, then I guess, and this is also then, yeah, good to kind of learn a little bit about the basics, and Instagram is important, or just the hashtags. It's like the, what do you call it, the train thing.
Oh yeah.
Just it allows you to put in keywords connected to what you're doing. So when people in Instagram search dress designer, they'll find you easier. So you put in keywords with a hashtag, and that would allow you to be found more easily by people that are looking for your type of businesses.
Thank you.
That's the main thing, yeah. Repetitive, lots of content on Instagram, focus on the hashtags to be found.
Okay.
And in the description, yeah, you can always kind of share a little story. For example, so the one store that I shared, that I made for my wife, she started to gain a lot of following on Instagram, because she was putting up her the products online of with her artwork on, but then she always shared a story about the artwork, and people got really connected to it, because she was sharing also a little bit personal information, because then artwork for her is personal. And when she shares something, she was like, oh, I was going through this time, and I started thinking about these things, and it relates to my family, and just the idea behind the artwork that people then can buy on the product. But I saw that her doing that really helped her build a following, and like a fan base. And then people kind of start asking her questions like, hey, I like what you did there. What do you use to make your digital art? And then just kind of start building engagement and conversations. And it just kind of started about sharing about why and how she was doing the artwork. But then it's just kind of building that following and keep building that engagement.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's Instagram.
So Mike, last time you talked about your involvement, you have been working with Shopify. Can you expand on that to see what are these options for people who wants to use Shopify?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago when Shopify, well, was still relatively young, it was as we said to you before, we're huge fans of Shopify because they're a Canadian business, and they were started by a small group of guys in Ontario, I believe. They had a board shop, like a skateboarding shop, and a couple of the guys were coders, and they just knew they could not find a solution for themselves for selling their products online, so they started to develop their own. It blew up. They ended up with getting funding from some of the big US players. Now they're one of the largest, they're certainly one of the largest e-commerce software programs on the planet right now. So we've been following them and following their progress and then using their product. And so a couple of years ago, I applied to their partnership program. So as an agency, Stephen and I are able to provide a free extended trial. So if somebody wants to set up a store in Shopify, we can, you can go to Shopify directly and get the same product. And I believe they have a free trial period, which is
30 days.
Not even that. It might be 2 weeks or something like that. And then you have to start paying. If you were interested in going through us, through our agency program as partners, we can extend that period of time. That gives you more time to play with the program and decide whether or not it's something you want to buy into.
Yeah.
So, and then of course at the same time, we're here to help build the store and get involved with branding and social media management and inbound marketing and all the other stuff that we do for a living.
Yeah.
But we're not. This is all stuff you can do on your own.
Yeah, and in Shopify itself, there's options to set out automated emails. So when someone buys your product, you can send them the right email. You can connect shipping inside Shopify with different providers.
Yeah.
And then also have that information sent out by email automatically to your clients. So there is some of more than just the shop. It has other features built in so that once it's set up, it's a very fluent process. It's a little bit of a hassle to fine-tune the process so everything is in the right order. All the taxes are set up properly, the shipping is set up properly, the automated emails are going out properly. But then once it's in place, it kind of runs itself.
Yeah. I'm just going to mention this too, for what it's worth. This is really serious stuff. There's a huge shift going on around the globe in terms of how the economy is running, and you do have these huge giants like Amazon that we talked about that are destroying the brick and mortar retail industry. Like they were getting annihilated, and it's happening faster and faster and faster.
Even especially with COVID, because online commerce grows, so Amazon is making huge profits while small businesses are going down.
And that's why companies like Shopify, I think their stock price is just like it's gone through the roof. They've grown so quickly. It's because we're in a state of transition. So if you're already in the retail, like shopping malls are shutting down or adapting. Brick and mortar retailers are having to adapt, even if there is a physical store location, they're becoming an e-commerce location by using touch screens and point of sale systems that are totally connected to your website and your e-commerce system. So less employees. You go into a store now, you can look at a product, you can click on a touch screen, you can order your product through your phone, through your app. All of those things are the kinds of changes that they are having to make. So it's no wonder that we're busy, and it's no wonder that companies are jumping on the bandwagon to get online, because this is a make or break thing. I mean,
Yeah, today, and especially because I read one comment somewhere about supporting local, and that's something that I noticed myself. Like I love to support local, but when I can't find it online, I'm not gonna take additional effort to really find out what's available in Merritt. If I can't find it online, I'm probably not gonna go to that store. Um, so just online presence, being able to be easily found online or through Google or social media is very important, and have, even if you don't sell online, have your products displayed online so people know what you are selling. Because yeah, the research happens here. This is where people start their research on their phone, and they're like, oh, I need something like that. Where do I start? Oh, I start with social media, or I start with Google. And then I kind of narrow down. And if there's like, oh, this is in Merritt, sure, I'll go and buy it in Merritt. But if it's not in Merritt, then I'll go buy it somewhere else. And maybe it was available in Merritt, I was just not aware of it. So
I totally agree with you. So sometimes when dealing with my clients, I make them realize that if you do not, increase the exposure of your business, in this case, a product or a service, it may be available within the community, but if people don't know, people will think that that specific product or service is not available here, and they will start either going somewhere outside Merritt or going online. So I completely agree with you, Steven.
I know. And then, of course, just this whole COVID thing is just, it's just added a whole new dynamic to this. We just, speaking of Shopify one more time, just this past week, they announced that they are shutting down their physical location. Their main office tower in Ottawa will be vacant. And of course, all the real estate people are up in arms about it because it's a flagship operation. But they've made the announcement that all of their, I don't know how many thousands of employees they have now, will be permanently working from home. So, I mean, this is the reality. I mean, everything is going online, and I think COVID has just pushed it into a whole,
just accelerated,
and this is why everybody's is being forced to make this transition. The way commerce is done in the next few years is going to be completely different.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And talking about being found in Merritt and Google, one thing I can mention is whatever store you have, just set up a Google My Business, and that will allow you to be more easily found in Google. Or even if you go on Google Maps, you might notice that if you're on Google Maps, little icons show up of stores, and you can find all the stores on Google Maps. And it's for free to be on that map. It's just the matter of going in and putting yourself on that map. So then in the Google search, you can pop up with your business, with a link to your website, with your opening hours, and even Google reviews for the social proofing. So that is something I would really encourage every business to set up. You don't need anything. You just can go in, and even inside Google My Business, you're now even able to create a website.
Yeah.
And that's also another feature they recently added. I think this is where it's constantly changing, but definitely make Google your friend, because that's how you're gonna get found in the overall internet search.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. Is there any other question for Steven and Mike before we let them go? So hearing none, so Joe, could you please proceed with your announcement?
Yeah, absolutely. One last thing to add to the presentation. Thank you guys very much. It was a great way to round out Small Business Week. Really appreciate you guys' help. Typically, whenever we have a Small Business Week and we're holding these seminars, we're holding these workshops, we try to provide something for the attendees. It's a way for us to partner with a local business or a grocer or a restaurant or a caterer, and kind of do something. All good?
I'm sorry, Joe.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Do something in the spirit of Small Business Week. This year, because of COVID, obviously there wasn't much that we could do. We can't email you guys food. So what we've done instead is partnered with the 3 independent cafes in downtown. That's Kakuli, Brambles, and Mandolins. If you want to pick up a voucher at the CF office, they'll be good until the end of the month. That's October 31st. And you can bring them to any one of those 3 locations and get like a coffee and a snack. On us, that was our way of figuring out how to do a little bit of catering, do something kind of old-fashioned for the first virtual Small Business Week.
Nice. Awesome.
Excellent. So, and with this session, Community Features Nicola Valley is concluded a Small Business Week. Thank you so much, guys, for this presentation. It was very informative. And if there is nothing else to add, so I just want to say thank you and see you next year at the Small Business Week 2021.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Can we access some of the other information that I missed?
So we had some session for about social media in the first session that we had for e-commerce, but we are happy to share those recordings with you. So if you are interested, we can send that information to you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, you can just rewatch it over and over.
Hey, right on.
And again, so these are presenters that are from the community. If you have any questions, you can feel free and see them in the street. Say, hey, I have a question for you, right?
Nice. Thank you.
Okay, see you guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
All right. Happy weekend.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Is that what you say?